and then that way we can hear you as we do this, all right?
All right.
So, Ralph, you're at the seminar, right?
Yes.
This is not a hallucination I'm having, hopefully.
I hope not.
Yeah, you are my hallucination, but it should be nice. I'll forget about you.
Well, if I'm your hallucination, then you're my hallucination.
Okay, please be nice.
I will.
All right. So, can I just ask you briefly, why is it that you came to this course?
To learn conversational hypnosis.
Right? Now, this is a relatively common response, right? I pretty much know why he's here in terms of that outcome, because, well, he's here. The context has defined that. If this was a used car lot and he told me this, I'd be a little bit more perplexed, right? But if it's a used car lot and he says, I'm here to buy a car, it's like, well, of course you are. It's a used car lot. So this doesn't really give me much information in terms of his values, in terms of how to motivate Ralph. Does that make sense? So I need to find out a little bit more. Now, we're going to do this initially very directly, and then we'll start seeing if we can get more indirect about this whole thing. So the simple question we're going to ask to get a set of values out, very simply, is what's important to you about that, right? And a variation of that. I mean, after a while, you may want to just vary it just for the sake of not sounding like a broken record. But essentially, that's the question you're asking. So let me ask you, what's important to you about conversational hypnosis?
Being able to interact better, being able to do something good for people.
Okay. Anything else?
Save the world.
Save the world?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, how much emotion was there in Ralph's responses? And by the way, Ralph, I apologize for talking about you as though you weren't there. This is just a useful way of getting through to what we're looking at.
No problem.
Thank you. So, was there a huge amount of emotion in what he's saying here?
Nope.
Would it be fair to say that there was a little bit more emotion than when he talked about learning conversational hypnosis, right? So we're getting a bit closer. We're getting a bit closer to his values, but we're not there yet, are we? What we need to do is take one of these things here and focus on that a bit more. So when you talk about interacting with others better, I mean, what's important to you about that?
Well, for me personally, getting out of the cave that I live in, that is my home office, and being out among people more.
So if you're out of your cave and amongst people more, what does that do for you?
Gives me an opportunity to have an effect.
Have an effect. Now, first of all, let me just stop there again. Did you notice again that the emotions are starting to rise a little bit more? There's a stronger focus on the language. He's emphasizing a little bit more. Are you hearing that? It's not a huge shift, but it's getting there. And you should probably be feeling a little bit more emotional about the content. This is not intellectual as much anymore, right? Now, there's a couple of things that are interesting here. First of all, have an effect, do good, save the world. Are you beginning to notice the pattern developing here? Right? Notice these patterns, because these will be things that are important. In a normal conversation, they'll throw these things out as, again, just more randomly, and it's your job to spot them kind of more invisibly. Make sense? The second thing is, notice when he said he wants to go out of the cave so he can interact with more people or something along those lines, right? Basically, he's telling me the same thing again, isn't he? He's giving me the same kind of logical level, shall we say, in terms of information. Interact better, get out of my cave, talk to more people. It's kind of on the same wavelength, isn't it? So I've got to bump him up a little bit in terms of the idea. Remember with the 5 realities? We want to get to know something pretty symbolic, something that symbolizes the whole of his life, this purpose for being here and so on. So it could be something like freedom, it could be like something like being a force for good in the world, or something like that. I'm having a suspicion it's going to go in that direction somewhat, but we'll see. So if I just ask what's important about getting out of your cave, I am likely to get another version of that again, because he's already given me one version across in the same way. Make sense? What I do at that point is I just collect things. So when you're interacting better, and you're getting out of your cave more, you're meeting more people, what does that do for you? Do you see how that's just a variation of asking, how is that important to you? So by collecting them all together, I'm asking to jump up and summarize, give me something that is present in all those things for him. Does that make sense? And that happens to be to have an effect. So what's important about having an effect on people?
Well, it's important that it's a positive effect.
A positive effect, right?
Right.
So, I mean, like, clearly, I don't know, you don't want to go around shooting people because that would be, I guess,
That would
relatively easy to
only
be.
add to the discord.
Yes. So, notice what you just said there. Do you see how casual in conversation something comes out? That would only add to the discord. Who thinks that harmony of some sort was going to be an element of whatever values we end up with? What do you reckon? Chance is pretty high, right? So I'll just ask him. So what's wrong with discord?
Well, it's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant.
Right.
So what would you rather have?
Well, pleasant, environment, pleasant community situation.
Right. So now we're going somewhere else. Notice how having an effect, a positive effect, doing good and saving the world, initially they sound like they are altruistic elements. And by the way, there is still a strong sense of altruism. But notice how we're going somewhere different now. In other words, until it has a personal impact on him, there has to be some kind of selfish element for everyone. Then this stuff is just the icing on the cake. Make sense? It doesn't, by the way, devalue the desire to do good and be a good force in the world. It actually, in my opinion, it enhances it. Because here, we're getting a hint. We haven't got there yet. We're getting a hint that having a pleasant environment around him is something he'll probably enjoy. I'm doing a little bit of mind read here. It's just, we'll experiment with this. It's something that he'll enjoy. It'll make his life more enjoyable somehow. And in helping others have a better life and enjoying the life more and being more harmonious with that discord thing again, he's helping himself to live a more pleasant life. Do you kind of see how that's starting to work out? And we'll talk more about why that happens or how that works in a little bit. Do you have a quick question, Mickey?
Yeah.
Do you want to come up?
Would this be a good way to help somebody get rid of a dirty goal or find a dirty goal?
So let's define a dirty goal first of all. A dirty goal is when consciously and unconsciously you want different things, they conflict. For example, anyone here want lots of money? Just a few of you? All right. So, if your unconscious mind happens to think that people who have more than a certain amount, let's say more than an income of $100,000 a year, that those people are somehow bad, have tricked others, have been manipulative in some way, right? So are somehow unethical, and it's important to be ethical in the world. What are the chances of you reaching high levels of income? Relatively low, right? Now, if someone then starts telling themselves, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be wealthy, they're going to start creating an internal conflict. Because the unconscious mind is going, no, you're better than that, you're better than that. And the harder they try, the bigger that conflict. That's called the dirty goal. So you need to uncover the unconscious drives or release the unconscious drive in order to be able to clean it up. Does that make sense? In the process of doing this, you may well come across a dirty goal, and you'll also come across something that'll give you leverage to clean it up.
Okay, thanks.
Right? So values are all about leverage. Leverage for motivation, leverage for change, leverage for whatever. Make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
So let's go back to exploring this a little bit. Do you want to carry on?
Well, I'd just like to give a little insight into the save the world motive, which goes back to there is a selfish component, obviously. I would like this world to be more enjoyable, to be more fun, to be more pleasant for myself and everybody in it. And in fact, I think in order to be more pleasant for myself, it needs to be more pleasant for others too.
Right.
And the save the world idea is that the more each of us as individuals spreads the good feelings, the better the whole world will be.
I agree. I think that's a great sentiment, right? So it's important for people, and yourself included, of course, to enjoy themselves and have fun and just be pleasant to each other, right?
Right.
That's important to you, right?
To enjoy life.
Just to enjoy life,
Instead
right?
of all the stress. I mean, you open the newspapers. Who can read the newspapers anymore?
Can I just pause you there a moment, if I may?
Sure.
What do you think the driving value right now is? We pretty much found it. Enjoy life. Did you see him animate? That's the first time in front of the whole group that he started using his expression more openly, getting more emotional about the whole thing, right? So really it's important to you to enjoy life.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
And here's the equation he's got in his mind. And when other people are enjoying their life, it's easier for you to enjoy yours, right?
Quite so.
Right? Again, do you see the enthusiasm with which he's responding, right? Now, I have a nice little product back there that'll help people enjoy their lives even more.
Oh,
Both you and others, you know that?
Can I get that?
Oh, absolutely. Buy all of them And you'll enjoy yourself way more than just buying one. Did you know that?
Actually, I think I already have bought them all.
You see, it's working already. Wow. Okay, so do you see how we've navigated through the kind of lower tiers, and ultimately what we're coming down to is a simple, motivating hot button. It's enjoying life, right? It'll be self in other words, you can create a context in which people are enjoying their lives so that you can enjoy your life. Would you like that?
Yes, and you know, it's a lot of fun to light people up.
Isn't it?
They love it.
They do. And do you enjoy it when other people lighten up?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's
So
a lot of fun.
I'm going to show you something in a minute, how to use values to make people really light up. So
Cool.
not only they enjoy themselves, but you have a lot of fun doing it too.
Great. Well, there we are. That's
Would you like that?
Yeah.
Good. Pay me money. Only kidding. Give him a nice round of applause.